He's from the audio department, but mainly he's a lawyer. He's in US. That's the fun thing. He has this voice, and we said to him to imitate the AI tone,
It's a
and he did
human.
it.
It's a
Yeah,
human
yeah,
imitating AI.
yes. That's what we did.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Game Engineering Podcast. Today I'm joined by Maria Aloupi, who is working on Cat Detective, Albert Wilde, Quantum PI. PI stands for Private Investigator. As a player, we're following a cat. We're playing as a cat and we're trying to solve a crime. The game is stylized to mimic the old black and white noir movie. So there's both the film grain and the super deep, dark voice, serious voice of the protagonist. On the other hand, the game is super funny, and your character is quite silly, and he makes lots of mistakes, and the game is making lots of jokes about it. So there's this constant battle between the seriousness of the character voice and what he thinks of himself, and what really happens in the world, of this crazy world of animals where you're playing as a cat. We'll discuss with Maria both her background and how she transitioned from music into game development, and then we switch to discuss writing, narrative, and all other aspects of Cat Detective. And with that, let's meet Maria. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you find yourself in game dev area?
Yeah, that's interesting because my background is I'm a musician. I was like born in music because my mom had conservatories, in Athens. So I played piano from the age of 3 years old, and I was associated with music and everything. And somehow I started teaching in a very early age, and everything with music was a little bit, in a very different way. I mean, regarding how old I was, what I was doing, and things like that. So at one point, I started to I wanted to do something else, and then else. Same thing with arts and music. So I started to organize events and independent events, independent festivals with music. I mean, contemporary music and a little bit classical. That was my background. And I was associated with all the electroacoustic scene, the avant-garde and the alternative, let's say. And then we started adding, things with arts, other forms of arts in the events. Then I founded my own cultural space in Athens that also had a part of a gallery, let's say. We did
You
exhibitions.
found it.
Yeah,
You
yes,
found
I
it
found
your
it.
space. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah. So, and at that point, the crisis started in Greece. So things was a little bit um, hmm, weird. But I mean, we had successful events, and everything was nice, and a lot of enthusiasm. But the situation was really difficult and a little bit dark. So we also lost a little bit the fun of it during this situation. So I decided to. I mean, I started to be, a little bit depressed with the whole thing. So I completely stopped everything. So at that point, Andreas has started, my partner has started with game development, tried some things because he's a software engineer. And also, he wasn't a game developer, he became a game developer. So I started to think about that, what it is, because it's not my background, nothing to do with that. And in a few years, I was a part of it. Started with a little bit music at the beginning. Then I participated in the production with narrative design, and then I started to learn about how to run a small business like that, how to involve in this part and how to promote the product that we want to um, develop. So that's my involvement with
Was
game
there
development.
was there a like a single point in time where you realized, oh, these games
Mm.
might be something
Yeah,
good? Like, what
yeah,
happened?
of course. What happened? At the beginning, it was chaotic for me and strange because I wasn't even a real gamer, let's say. I mean, it wasn't my life there. As I said, my life was completely different. I mean, another kind of interaction, not digital, but only, live. So, yeah, when I uh, I started to explore um, the games, I just see that this medium is really interesting. I mean, because I had the, let's say, blackout in the creative part of my life as a composer. I mean, what I was describing would not happen with, the I mean, with the circle I was. I mean, it was not easy to express myself, fully expressed, but I didn't know why. So what I was imagining wasn't really there. So when I found this world with games, started to think in another way. I mean, of course, I was, that's another kind of uh, approach because I wasn't, a child that plays games and continues something like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, that was the interesting part for me. That this thing is uh, really, really interesting. I mean, what it does because it involves entertainment as well in another form. So yeah, that's how
Okay.
I was challenging it. I mean, creatively.
The,
So,
the, the,
but the other thing was that the real challenge for me is the whole thing with the business area. I mean, it's interesting. This
okay.
kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I ask because I think like 95% of people who are involved in game making are there because like when they were children they were playing games and they have fond memories and they
Yeah.
want to like nurture
Yeah.
this nostalgia at least in some part.
Mm.
and
You know.
and you're different in this regard. You had an artistic and very classical as well, right?
Yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
piano, 3 years old, very classical. And
Yes.
most like let's say
Not only
artists.
piano. I'm sorry, and ballet, classical ballet, as well.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
There is this like attitude of like, oh, I'm making art for an art, and like the games, for example, are not art, and you coming from the art, like, or
Mm.
even like the classical art
Yeah.
world into games and seeing in games possibility to express things that you couldn't, for example, through music. It's very interesting. It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, it is. You said that games are not art. This is, yes, it's an interesting, conversation
No,
because
I believe there
the
are.
definition.
There
Yeah,
are, and
yeah.
there's lots of
I'm glad.
games. I think these are my favorite games when they're trying to push the boundary and do something creative with
Yeah.
in terms of like the interaction, the
Mm,
presentation, show
mm,
something like force you to think about subjects that you not necessarily want to think. For example, like there's so much space and also unexplored space in this generally area. But
yeah.
yeah, okay, and
I mean, formally, there is a differentiation between art and productions. I
yeah,
mean, but for me, I can see, I mean, the art in the productions, how to make, I mean, in films, in cinema, first of all, that was the first medium that also not included in art scene, at the beginning. And now games, I mean, games is more, I mean, of course, and all the interactive other project that we can have, but games is, yes, it's a very specific form, but very open
okay.
to include everything. Yeah, everything you want. So that's the interesting part.
So you found then founded a have you founded a studio then with your partner?
Yeah, I mean, um, it started like, okay, we will develop some games. I mean, always it was a part-time occupation for Andreas because he's a software engineer and he lives, you know, doing other work. Um, and for me, it was part-time at the beginning because I couldn't approach it more. I mean, I felt that okay, that's what I can do, not more. And now I'm in the position that I cannot even sleep. I mean, it's so many things that I have to do. So yeah, uh, I'm just honest how it was. I mean, I had ignorance of
Okay.
things
Okay.
just like that. So it was a part-time occupation. Then we developed some games. I mean, in time. I mean, we needed more time than organized studio can do this production. Um, and now, I mean, we are, yes, I think we are there that we can say that we can do it, more professional, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about your current project now.
Yeah, it's Cat Detective, Albert Wilde, Quantum PI. It's a long name because it started as Albert Wilde Quantum PI, and it's nice and funny, and it gives the vibe. But we noticed after a lot of conferences that people don't remember this, but they say it's something like cat detective. So we added
Okay.
in the beginning after a suggestion of a lot of people. So yeah, that's how
Okay.
we have this name. Yeah.
And there's lots of things that are unique about this game. I don't know where to start. First of all, it's like noir, right? Black and white.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
incredibly funny.
Thank
For
you.
There is a demo available, and everybody can go and play and see.
Thank you. Yeah.
And okay, let's start there. Like, where would be the inspiration for this? How Cat Detective became what it is now in the demo?
Okay, that's a long story. Because I mean, this is a product, a game that has a lot of different things. It's a blend of several, different things. So how it started in the lockdown. I mean, during the lockdown, Andreas made more prototypes than usual. I mean, so he was experienced with noir style in a serious, way. Um, I mean, he first created some scenes like from Tarkovsky films, like a forest and things like that. So that's how it started. And when Andreas prototype things, next step is that we discussed about them. And if I said, okay, that seems like that could be a product, then we will, continue further. So
You're the
it's how it
committee.
works. I
You
mean,
you're the
yeah.
jury. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, we are only two persons, so it's so simple. So he started with noir. He showed me this and that and that. Then he added things in a very serious and dark, you know, mood. I mean, he continued added the two characters like biblical characters, like, and then. Yes, I said, okay, it's very nice. So, and then, I mean, I wasn't, I didn't have the feeling that we can do something. I mean, the two of us, something like that, and has a place in the industry. So,
So it
Andreas,
was at this point
yeah,
it was like a dark noir adventure
yeah.
with
No adventure yet. Just some visuals, some atmosphere, some
okay.
characters, an idea behind this. I mean,
Okay.
the first title was there is no you cannot kill me anymore. So
Okay.
so, so uh, something like that. I don't remember exactly. Then there was an influence he saw a short film from David Lynch. What did Jack do? Something like that. Um, that was a quickie short film with interrogation of a monkey. So if you see, it's really you can see that there is a vibe. So he decided to create another character. This humanoid animal um, that we use, and he put the head of a cat, and then I start smiling a little bit, and then the next scene was the cat on the car, and I said, okay, here we have something. Could work. And yes, then we start with the story, how, and we involve so many things that I don't think that we have the time to to explore everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But at the beginning, we said that Andreas has this ability to create a story that has start, a main content, and an end, and this is very important. And we keep that. All the other, we made so many iterations with the writer, with other people. Yeah, it's complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And regarding the genre of the game, because
Hmm.
this is what usually players are interested, right? We're talking about a cat detective game, so there will be some sort of a mystery involved. There's also noir
Yes.
setting, but what are the things that players do in the game?
Hmm. We created a 3D environment that the player can walk, talk, explore things, a little bit puzzling things. But it's not complicated. There is nothing difficult there. There is not, a difficult mechanic or something. It's really easy for everyone. And yeah, basically, it's walk and talk, and the dialogues are the main thing. It's like you play in an old film noir in a 3D environment. So
Okay.
that's what you do.
You're walking in a 3D environment, you're appreciating scenery, which is really nice, and then we'll get back to dialogues because they're
Yes.
hilarious and like stroke of genius. But then you collect items, and generally speaking, you're kind of like following a story as if it was a film.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the idea. Like it was a film. Of course, it's a game. This is the medium, the form, and yes, we after this the main idea of the story. Um, we decided to experiment with visual also scenes because it's important, and then at the same time we made the the whole atmosphere, some scenes, the characters, how it will be. Not only the cat, but uh, the whole thing, because we have 25 characters, for example. It's like a film. And then we had to find the style and the tone of the writing. And it was at that point we started working with Michelle. Michelle Club is a writer from Tail Spinners, and we described her that we want a style, a tone of the noir, of the real noir. So she understood that correctly, and like a classic noir detective film, that kind of dark, cynical. I mean, tone, and at the same time to be a comedy. So.
Another night in the city. The kind of night where even the dark can't hide the crime. Mind you, that might have something to do with the fact that I've got a cat's eyes.
Michelle is a very experienced writer, so she could do it herself. But instead, we decided to write down I mean, I wrote the whole, something like the whole demo or more at the beginning. I'm not a writer, so uh, you understand how it works that. But, so I did it. I mean, I did everything. And then I said, Michelle, I mean, this is our thought. So you have to work on top of this. Otherwise, Michelle will end with another interesting game. So that's how we did it. And of course, she changed a lot of things, or she, rewrite. And yes, she came out with this tone, with this type of writing that is a blend of, dark humor, let's say, noir elements, quirky self-aware, narration, and we have decided to have this meta humor. You have already noticed, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he likes me much. He must be intimidated by my brilliant intelligence. Either that, or the fact that I'm a cat and he's a bird.
So first of all, let me comment on this one. It's like two games or two stories in one. You have Albert Wilde, the detective, the PI, who has incredible voice actor with deep dark voice, and who is doing the perfect noir narration, and he sounds so cool. And then in reality, when you're, for example, engaged in dialogue, you have such a silly sounds, and the character performs such silly actions, and he's let's say incapable of being a proper detective. It creates such a cool tension, and like it's hilarious for the most part. Like it's and you are pulling off already in the demo so many good jokes, with playing with this like seriousness of noir, and then exposing it what it is
Yeah.
in reality. It's so
There are
cool.
more jokes after.
Okay,
That's
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
this is super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So voice. And when it was time to do the real development, this unfortunately this company changed, the policy, and we couldn't have access to that. I mean, so we found um, somebody that made what you are right now hearing, and it's not even an actor. Um, he's an audio. He's from the audio department, but mainly he's a lawyer. He's in US. That's the fun thing. He has this voice, and we said to him to imitate the AI tone,
It's a
and he did
human.
it.
It's a
Yeah,
human
yeah,
imitating AI.
yeah, yes. That's what we did. Yeah. So
How so for the writing part, for the dialogue writing part, how do you do this? Have you provided Michelle first with your ideas, and Michelle twisted this and like stitched
yeah,
this, or okay?
yeah.
And what have you provided her?
Especially the first act,
Okay,
because just to yeah, you have to start from something. Yeah.
somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was only in the first act, let's say. Then Michelle continued with Andreas, but the rest of the game is more Michelle.
Okay.
After Act Two is, I mean, she know, it's her thing.
Okay.
After that, yeah.
Okay. The scene you mentioned, the scene, because there's also dialogue between the characters, and you can see in the voice acting there is like you can see what the texts are being said, but during the gameplay you hear sounds, animal sounds.
Mm-hmm.
How have you made the first of all
Decision.
realization that you should do that?
Yeah.
And then how have you made them exactly the sounds?
Of course, as we said, we are a small studio, and in the studio, so voiceover for the whole game, it's much that now it's 65,000 words.
Okay.
Voiceover would be a real cost on that case, in that case. So we knew that in the beginning that it's not easy for us to do that, and it's not only how long it is; it's the direction. I mean, you need a director for that. I mean, it's like an animation film. It's not easy. So we decided, we came with the idea that we only have the when the main character is thinking, because he's the hilarious guy first of all, when he's thinking with this kind of tone, we use this voice. All the others, the dialogues, I came with the idea to use animal voices, and then we started to implement that. I mean, the cat is my voice, and all the other voices is Nick Casey from Audio Creatures. Some
But
of them
wait,
are recording from him, and some of them are, he just found, the
okay,
voices.
okay.
Yeah,
But the cat meows are you doing the
yeah,
sounds?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's me.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I did not expect that.
really.
I
Yeah.
thought you got a cat and tried to squeeze out of him the
No,
sounds with the
no,
mic real close.
no, no.
Okay,
It's me. It's me.
okay,
That's me.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh, for the dialogue, maybe this sounds silly, but can you please walk me through how have you ended up with some dialogues and characters? Because the process for
Mm.
me is unclear generally, and I've been thinking about this for my project as well. Like, it's very interconnected to the story and the setting and the world building, and it feels like you need to start somewhere, and this place doesn't have a clear start. Like, you can
Mhm.
either work on a setting, but then you don't have a story. If you start the story, you need like setting elements, and somehow you need to get the dialogue and two characters communicating, and it's like,
Yeah.
where do you start? Where do you
Mm.
like hand off this to writer to fill the gaps? Whether writer
Mm.
is influencing the story or just the writing, just the dialogue, like where do you
No,
put the
no, no,
boundaries?
no. I mean, when we started with the visuals and the decision of, the style, we had the story that has, I mean, it involves a mystery, as you see, of a murder, a cat. I mean, these humanoid animals found the normal cat. That's how it started, and it associated with Schrodinger's cat experiment. So that's the main idea, that we ended, in this situation with quantum theory, and um, it, it's supposed to be some parallel universes. That, I mean, it's not very important how. I mean, not every small details here, but yeah, there was an idea that we keep. I mean, and then we started with building its scene, which sends a lot of things in between. I mean, and we built all characters from scratch. They have a background, everyone, like in films or in animations. And also, we kept some things that are not accurate at all. I mean, you have the feeling of consistent in things like that, that there is a whole world that has, there is explanations for everything, but this is a feeling. It's not real. So
It's illusion.
another, yeah, it's, yes, of course, it's an illusion. It doesn't exist anyway. So, for example, they have there are a lot of jokes about cat paws,
Yeah,
but we have human hands,
yeah.
the characters. So, but we still keep it up. I mean,
Okay.
as a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing you don't really see, at least
Yeah.
when you're playing. It's like, oh yeah, it's a cat. Cat has paws.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though maybe
Yeah.
in this game you have
Yeah.
more humanoid cat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But we find this, funny to keep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you made the story, you already knew which characters will be talking to which and things like that?
Not all. We started with some basics. We added at the very end a few. I mean, now, I mean, this month we added two characters. I don't want to say every detail
Oh,
because
don't
it's
spoil.
like
Don't spoil. Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and not the story. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, yes, but we had some characters at the beginning.
Yeah.
We built the whole thing, and
Okay.
we kept that. I mean, not
Okay.
only
So
design.
once you had story and once you knew the world, like the
Mhm.
setting,
Yeah,
you then moved more towards dialogue with the knowledge of like who is doing what and that these are animals, so you can then write jokes about that as well. These
yeah.
parts. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. 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 The I have one question about the scene when Kat is driving.
Yeah,
This was the you mentioned this that this was the part of the prototype,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Okay. For some reason this scene is super iconic to me. Like I see this and it's like, yes. Yes, we did not have that before and we should have. How,
Yeah.
how it was done and like well, because like technically how it was done in terms of the prototype and then like is there like a clear inspiration for this from somewhere like from film or something like that?
I think at least in the beginning he used yeah some he found some from films something that
Okay.
is in the background. I don't know. I cannot explain everything
Okay.
technically. It's not
Okay.
my.
Okay.
It's not my
Okay.
place. So yes, but as an, I mean, we have seen cats in cars, some screenshots or things, funny things in internet in general, but no project. I suppose that was. I mean, we searched a lot,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that's why I said that's interesting. I mean, it's funny and it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So we kept that. And is when the character is thinking alone and said all these things. So and go from scene to scene. Yeah, we find this interesting.
And
Yeah.
it's perfect place for him to think through his
Mm.
deep dark voice
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
even though the reality that just happened was
Mm.
uh, not matching his at least attitude or like mental state.
So
Okay.
let's see. But our main goal was to work with silliness. I mean, that's our main goal in this project. I mean, we can say that about the humor and the tone that it's inspired from Monty Python's or from, do you know the films of Adam McKay? I mean, films like The Other Guys, Talladega Nights, or Campaign, The Anchorman. They had this kind of humor and crazy, crazy. I mean, scenes and very, very unusual things. So we are. That was an inspiration. I mean, we love this thing. I mean, we love a lot. I don't think that we reached that. I mean, we find this very well done. I mean, and but it was an inspiration for us. I mean, to imitate a little bit this tone, this kind of humor and a lot of things that make no sense to you inside. There are, for us, there are inspiration from scenes from that, from things here and there and there. Like, I mean, the dancing thing, if you have
Yeah.
played, yeah. Um, there was a whole scene in film, The Other Guys, with a detective that goes to learn dance because he has to impress his ex-wife because she dumped him and he's still obsessed with her. And there is a very funny scene with him trying to not to impress her, and there is a scene that Mark Wahlberg supposed to have a very well trained, classical ballet thing. So this is hilarious. I mean, this was an inspiration for me. It's not the same scene, but when I said said this idea, I had this in mind, for
Okay.
example. And there are a lot of things like that. So we played. It was funny for us. Um, it was a very fun procedure to, you know, the whole thing to find ideas for what to do. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why we say it's a blend of many things, many things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the breaking the fourth wall and like characters
Mm,
knowing that they're in the film, or let's say that there is a sort of outside world. Because
yeah.
I think we can make two cases. Like first, that it makes for good jokes, because
Mhm.
like there are things that will happen that will have make zero sense, so you can like have a
Yeah.
comment on this from like
Mhm.
outside. And then
Mhm.
there's the other part is that like it kind of breaks the illusion and it takes you out, so
Yeah.
there's the disadvantage. So what are your thoughts on that, and how would you draw the line?
Yeah. It's we tried it because I mean games, some adventure games and point of click. Um, from the past did that. So it's something that you can use in games, and it's not easy. I mean, you have to be careful not to do a lot of, not to use it all the time as all things. Yes, but I think that we have a good use of this, especially I think in the final scene that you cannot see right now. Yeah. And I mean, we really want to. We have an idea, but I don't know if we can implement that to use something in marketing. I mean, our idea is to use the characters as actors in the marketing. I don't know if we can achieve that. I mean, it sounds
Characters as
difficult.
actors, what do you mean?
You may to use, for example, the cat and some others to have, you know. To create some videos that are describing their experience
Okay, okay,
in that film, and
okay,
have
okay.
some fights between them. I mean, maybe it's too much, but that was our intention to do that. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay,
So yeah, we work with that a lot, but we put just a few, I believe. Yeah, a few
okay.
things.
Can we discuss a little bit the noir aspects about the...
Mm.
First of all, I have a very vague idea what noir is. I know, like, when you see it, you kind of know it, but if
Mm.
I would be pushed to define it, it would be like it has to rain and you has to have like a trench coat from like this to like up your
Mm.
feet, and you have to be serious and somewhat dark. So can you tell me like what noir it is to you, and how this applies now to Albert Wilde?
Yeah, I mean, noir. When we say noir, uh, we are thinking old movies. Uh, Not really in the 30s that we said. That's a little bit early, but most people knows noir detective stories from the 60s, I believe, 50s and 60s. It's this black and white style, dark. Um There always a strong female in the story. We tried to add this because we start with Albert Wilde, how silly this cat is, and but we managed to add the female present a lot in the in this story, and yes, it has a very specific style and tone, the noir style. So it's a reference for us. I mean, um, and but also we had in mind other films that are meta noir, like Dark City and
Dark City,
Brazil.
the movie?
Yeah, yeah, the movie.
Okay.
But they have created all this strange world because our world is strange, not futuristic, but it's strange.
Yeah.
And also Brazil from Terry Gilliam, that
Okay.
was another influence, let's say. And they both have to do with the noir style, but in this, yes, with this very impressive, uh, appearance. So, yeah, I mean, I think that most people just know the old style and black and white and detective mystery. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what noir is in our consciousness.
Okay.
And a lot of people we have seen that have no idea what noir is. A lot of young people have no idea, but
Yeah.
still.
If you don't
Yeah.
watch, yeah, you would need to watch now like
Mm,
older movies. If you're
mm,
like 16
mm,
now, for example, or 18, you would need
mhm.
to like do your work to actually watch. I don't think there's a lot of noir thing, for example, on Netflix or like streaming platforms.
Not a
So
lot.
you need to go out of your way to get. That's wild. That
Mhm.
noir becomes like a
Mm.
unknown reference.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, a
wild.
lot of things, not only noir. I mean, it's normal. I
Okay.
think it's normal.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
So maybe we can close the gameplay part with music and sounds because you have musical experience
mm.
and background. I was wondering how much this background influenced you in terms of, are you in charge of the music for
Yeah,
Overworld?
I mean, for the composition, I mean, audio, it's not my specialty. I mean, sound design. I don't do that. So we have a partner. We have Nick and Marcus. They called Audio Creatures. They are professional.
Oh,
They,
Audio Creatures is their
yeah,
name of the.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, their name.
I thought
Audio
you're
Creatures.
calling them like, hey,
No,
hey,
no, no.
Audio Creatures.
You can. I think they accept that. Yeah, yeah, they are happy with that. Yeah, and yes, they will. They are helping us on that. Um, yeah, we try to find the appropriate tone of music to have to be a slight, uh, funny and a slight humor inside. So we ended with this. In demo, there is just a small part of it. It will be more and a little bit different. And I mean, this jazzy thing is also uh, something that goes with noir style. And also in games, there are other games that have also humanoid, animals, and almost everybody use jazz music, some kind of jazz music. So I think that we said yes, let's keep that. Don't do everything different. And yes, we decided to use this mixture of music style, and I mean this look with the piano and the improvisation with the other instruments, and people said that it fits, so we continue with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine that because of your background, you have you would be like very um, focused. Like you would have high expectations for the audio to be like the proper one to fit the scene and things like that. Is it the case?
uh, Good comment. So the last thing that we do, unfortunately, is the music, because I'm so busy with all other stuff that it are difficult for me. I mean,
Okay.
I need a lot of time, to do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And music, unfortunately, comes at the last minutes, and I'm ashamed that I say that, but I said that it's an honest, thing to do. So yeah, you cannot do everything.
Yeah.
That's
That's
and
true.
I already do a lot, and it's funny for me that I'm doing other things
Okay.
besides music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So tell me a bit more about outside of the game. Like,
Mm.
well, in what state is the game now, and
Mm.
where do you plan the release? Things like
Yeah.
that.
We are at the final stage. Uh, So we need 1 month to finalize the last acts and a lot of things that need, polishing, you're a developer. Um, and the music at the last moment, of course, as I said, and only. I mean, we are going to announce the release date at the beginning of August, just to be sure that it's the right date and we are ready. And just before Gamescom, we will be, ready. We will participate again in Gamescom, and we believe that the release date uh, will be something in September. I'm not sure about the date now. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that's our plans. Yeah.
And what platforms are you targeting?
We started with PC only. I'm talking about the release on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we will see, and maybe it will go for Switch and Xbox and maybe PlayStation. And of course, we can have a mobile version, but I mean, it's a premium game. It's not the right platform, but we will do at the end. Yeah.
Okay. And where people can follow your work?
We have all possible channels, not only a website and Steam page. We have a Discord server. We are in Twitter. I mean, that's our basic channels. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I also write news there. And yes, we will have a TikTok page, I believe,
Okay.
very soon. We will use that.
Another
Um,
thing to work on
that's all.
as well. Like another thing to spend time on creating TikTok videos.
That's my nightmare. That's my nightmare.
Yeah.
TikTok. I mean, if you said that a few years ago to me that I will do that,
Okay.
I wouldn't believe that. But,
Okay.
mm,
Well then, thank you so much for joining for the
yeah,
discussion and
thank you.
shedding light on this game. I'm super excited and can't wait for the full release. I had so much fun doing the demo. And for everybody who is listening, watching, go play the demo and see whether the humor will strike you. I think it will.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's. I had a great time with you today, and I hope that uh, I said a few info that could be useful for
Yeah,
someone to
it was really
explore
nice.
the project. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.